So welcome everybody to Phoenix Contact. And as Haroon said, I greeted him in khakis, and I didn't think about it today, but these are probably the same khakis. I'm cheap. So anyway, welcome to Phoenix Contact. If you've never been here before, my guess is only few, but if you've never been here before, you're at the U.S. headquarters of Phoenix Contact. We are a closing in on 100-year-old German company, privately held German company, and you're at the U.S. operations. So I have the honor and privilege to lead the U.S. operations, and in the United States we have a little over 800 employees. About 600 of them are on this campus. So welcome. If you don't know us, we're excited. What we do is we power, protect, connect, and automate industrial systems. That's our company. Typically, industrial automation control is the name of the industry. So my job today, I have a short job, 15 or so minutes, just to maybe, I like to think of it as give you some mental calisthenics, like a little bit of mental exercise. Because I'm really not the informed speaker. You have a lot of great speakers on the stage coming up, and they're going to teach you neat things and challenge your mind, and that's why we're all here. But I'm here just to warm you up a little bit, get you like this. Okay, here we go. So when we're done, hopefully you're just ready to think, and then we'll have all the really informed people teach us things today. So leading into that, what I want us to remember is where we are in this meeting today and where we are in this world today is we're entering and we're part of a digital world. Digitalization is invading our lives, and it's changing the world massively. So we're in a Smart Cities conference worried about cybersecurity this year as a theme, but digitalization is the topic. So that's what the first thing that should go on your mind. And when we at Phoenix Contact many years ago started learning about digitalization and implementing digitalization and seeing its fast growth in the world and the possibilities that it was bringing us, we learned one thing. And that's why I'm excited about this conference today, because it's a great example of the one thing you got to keep in mind when you're dealing with digitalization. And that is this image. Each of us has roles in society, in our own lives, and we spend 40, 50, 60 hours a week doing one thing. We conquer, right? We're given a job, an assignment, we run a company, we do whatever we're doing, and we go out and we just conquer. We go do things. We get things done. That's what we do. That's what our brain is trained to do. And we're on a high-speed loop, right? We're constantly getting things done. But the problem with digitalization is it's more about exploration than actually getting things done. We need to learn and explore in our minds what digitalization can do for us before we actually get something done with it. And that's a huge challenge for leaders and professionals in our industry. You tell them, stop, slow down, think. Explore first, then go conquer. So today is one of those moments where you get to explore and think, and I love these moments because we don't have too many of them. We don't have enough of them in our day. So today's about exploring, so we're not conquering. We're off in Star Trek land going to, places no one's gone before, hopefully, in your mind. So what's driving digitalization? Many, many, many things, right? But it goes from sensors to massive information processing, right? The cloud-based systems and huge data farms, to networks. And the network world is really making it all happen. And then lastly, it's starting to invade the user, how we live and act. So these are the four main forces. And then in the industrial world, the world we live in, where we try to automate a factory or an infrastructure setting, the old control hierarchy looked like that. You had some big enterprise that was in charge of something, work centers, station device, all the way down to products, and we connected it all toward the top. It was this classic pyramid. I think this all started with Purdue a couple decades ago, the control architecture pyramid. But what we're learning is the whole world just changed and is now a big, massive network. you're going to have smart everything. So when we study a smart city, we got to remember everything else in that city is going to be smart. And it's all going to someday interconnect and talk to each other. So that's the new control hierarchy in a massive connected world. And that, again, is that point where you have to leave a lot of your thought process behind and think about what it could be in the future. So those are the big forces. If you want to look at the money, whoops, I apologize. This is the global GDP of about 70 trillion. And if you go down to here, the industrial internet opportunities, probably about 32 trillion of that. So the spend that goes on in the industrial infrastructure of this world is massive amounts of money. That's the good news. Because if we redirect that money into the digital world, things get better really quick. So here we are. I'm using IIoT, the Industrial Internet of Things, to be our maybe a little mini slogan for digitalization of what we're studying. And that's what we deal with at Phoenix Contact on a daily basis. And then we've used this picture many times inside of our company to describe the fact that we have the digital world meeting the human world, and that's a big day. So, but the theme of today is the data integrity, right? That's one of the sub-themes in the smart city today. And the first thing we got to realize is in the IIoT world, there's a huge dark side. Huge dark side. We know it from election security. We know it from cyber attacks on hospitals. We know it from cyber attacks on industrial. We know it from cyber attacks on our credit card companies. But if you imagine that infrastructure, that industrial infrastructure being a massive network, and if we get there someday and it's all interconnected, then this becomes the biggest problem. So that's why it's really exciting to hear the speakers today, because they're going to talk to us about how we can make sure we have data integrity and system integrity in our industrial world. This is a graphic of attacks that are going on in any given day. One of our experts in the room uses it in his presentations, but you can actually go to the website and see the live attacks going on. So this is the dark side, and we have to make sure we cover that dark side, or digitalization will be neutralized. Energy, and I forgot, I missed one more picture here, but I only have solar and wind on this. But as we all know, energy is changing from its generation to its distribution. We're doing more distributed energy concepts, and we're doing renewable energy concepts. In this building, most of your energy you're experiencing today is from a natural gas-fired microturbine, actually 5 of them, 5 200-kilowatt microturbines. They're in a room about 50 feet from here to my left, and we're generating a megawatt of our own electricity off of natural gas. So we only buy a small 10 or 20% from the utility today. So the energy infrastructure inside of smart cities and buildings is changing dramatically. And it has to be smart. E-mobility, I think, is the other massive force in our world. And it's going to invade smart cities. And it already has. We all have seen these little guys run around smart cities, and they're the terror of a city, and they're the fun of a city. And if you start there, that's e-mobility. We all know about Tesla and what they've been able to accomplish. It's been an amazing run in the last decade with Tesla. And they've really taken the lid off the whole e-mobility world. And in the next 2 or 3 years, you're going to see almost every car that you buy have a chance to be electric. And it will also have the chance to be autonomous. And that is going to be an amazing world when we get there, and change a lot of our global infrastructure of transportation as well as inside of a city. And then I don't know if you've followed, many people have and know about it, but who Waymo is. So Waymo is Google's car project that started a decade ago. So if you haven't followed the Google car project, remember that happened a decade ago, even before Tesla got going. And Google did it as a data investigation, as a data science project, if you will. About 5 years ago, they spun it off and called it Waymo. And if you haven't followed Waymo, go Google it. You can watch their commercial. They are launching the first driverless taxi service very, very soon, I believe next year. Haven't told us where it's going to be. But let me tell you how serious they are about this. So one day, about 1.5 years ago, they had been established as Waymo for a few years, tested their systems on Chrysler Pacificas, had tested them on their little electric car that they had built. They placed 2 purchase orders in one quarter. One purchase order was the Chrysler for 60,000 Chrysler Pacificas. 60,000 $30,000 vehicles. So one day, the CEO of Waymo cut a PO for $1.8 billion to Chrysler. Said, I need a few cars. About 2 months later, he cut a purchase order for 20,000 Jaguar E-Pace electric small SUVs, like the Audi Q5 size or a Honda CR-V size. 20,000. Those go about 60, 70 grand. Another $1.5 billion cars. He wanted to buy a couple cars. He's buying $3.5 billion worth of cars. And he's going to put all his stuff on them. That's what they've been doing for the last 2 years, putting all their stuff on them. And then someday they're going to announce maybe Arizona or California, 80,000 driverless taxis will invade that state. If you're Uber right now, you got a problem. And this is targeted at cities. So Waymo is a huge force coming in autonomy. It's been the story of Tesla. Wait till Waymo deploys those 80,000 vehicles. That's their first attempt. And then lastly, I love this story, and that's just one image. There's many, many images there. In e-mobility, driverless trucking is going to be huge. All the long-haul truckers in this world, which we have a massive shortage of, by the way, and they're overworked and getting in lots of accidents, this can go away. You know, you can pull onto the Pennsylvania Turnpike up here, go to a rest stop, get out, hit a button, have a Waymo take you back to your office, 10 miles away. The truck drives to Pittsburgh, stops at a rest stop. A driver takes a Waymo, gets in the truck, makes the last 5-mile delivery. That truck will stay in the right-hand lane. It'll drive 65 miles an hour exactly, and it'll never get in an accident. It'll be fantastic. So e-mobility is going to invade our smart cities and our infrastructure very, very soon.
Jack?
Yes?
Since I come from Volvo.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate the photo at the bottom right.
Yes, we've met before, and I know you do. Yeah, and this gentleman's making smart trucks. He's going to make this stuff happen. So chat with him at break. But believe me, it's coming, and it's coming fast. So that's going to be really exciting. And lastly, in e-mobility, this is my favorite image in e-mobility. If you've never seen this is the eHong 184. And if you think I'm crazy, or this just came up last week, I think this picture is about 7 years old or 8 years old. This is a startup Chinese company that's building a human drone. You get in that little baby. It's got a little iPad. You type where you want to go. It goes up in the air. Goes 60 miles an hour for 23 minutes before it has to land. But in 20 minutes, you can go 20 miles. So you can go right over all the traffic and land at your parking lot. Those little side rotors pop up. It sits in the same space as a car. You charge it all day, you get in your car, you get in your eHong, and you fly back to your house. That's only $250,000. Now, it's a lot of money, but cars are $100,000 nowadays, and there's a lot of rich people buying those, so who knows? But then that's only one human drone concept. If you Google human drone, you'll see 15 to 20 of them out there coming. This is also coming. It's not crazy. By the way, I think Dubai has purchased over 100 of those and a couple other concepts. Dubai's deploying the first driverless air taxi service in the city of Dubai. They're doing it. So, robotics, another one of my favorite things in this world. When we think of robotics and industrial automation control and in factories, we think of that robot. It's typically known as Big Iron. Big Iron are the ones that, weld the cars as they're going down the production line, bzz, bzz, and those robots cost $250,000. They're very expensive. But now Boston Dynamics has invented those two up there. I apologize. Let's see if we get those going again. That's Atlas, and I forget the name of that. Spot, I think is the name of that one. But Atlas and Spot will make them go one more time. Are amazing robots that will be put into all kinds of industrial and consumer uses in the future. So, and then this baby's delivering over here. That one was delivering pizzas, I believe, in a city setting or in a college. Robotics is going to become a huge part of our world and our lives. So we need to get comfortable with it, and we need to know how to automate it and control it and make sure its data integrity is there. And then lastly, smart infrastructure. And I first want to apologize to my water wastewater guys in the room. I left out a picture of a water wastewater treatment plant, which is crazy because water wastewater treatment plants are a huge part of the infrastructure in a city and our world. So that should be on here as well. But of course, we know we got airports, we got highways, we got trains, we got tunnels. We got all kinds of things that are becoming smart, digital, and interactive with us as users in a way that we just can't even imagine. So with that, those are images of this digital world that you're all in small ways trying to be part of or figure out. That's good. And I would say that's the context at which we need to learn today. So like my Conqueror versus Explorer image, there's one more thing we need to remember. So I turned 60 years old today and this year, and quite proud of myself. I have a good job, great people, think I'm a nice guy, and have a good career and a great company. And I have all this knowledge in my head. And all my knowledge is from the history. Everything I've learned. It makes me effective. It makes me a great conqueror. But what we better remember about the digital world is that a lot of that knowledge is not important. So I have one little video to share with you to finalize your mental calisthenics today. It's one of my favorite little videos that reminds me of this point.
And now, my friend, the first rule of Italian driving. What's behind me is not important.
So, if you remember anything, remember a lot of what you learn makes you who you are, and yes, you need a lot of that to be effective, but there's a danger in all that stuff you've learned, and it can keep you from being effective in this new digital world. So I think if there ever was a time in our history when what we know is not important, I think this is probably that time. So, thanks for coming to our Smart Cities Conference, and let's all see what a city can become. Thank you.